So this is the Byron Bay scene and the last painting in this series. This will take all your skills. Do try and keep the shape I have here, and remember to keep your waves and everything else very tiny in the distance. And as you come forward, everything gets bigger, and then your painting will look in perspective. Byron Bay from the air.
With a little bit of blue, let's lay in about what we need to keep it up there. We're looking down on Byron Bay, and the horizon's about there. Byron Bay comes in, say like that, something like that. And Byron Bay shape, and Julian rocks out here. We'll start right up in the corner for our sky. With a crisscross brush stroke, there's a little bit of phthalo blue on there. I'm using acrylic paint, you might be using oils. I can put that under the cover with a knife. And that's the undercoat for our blue sky. And blend your sky in, that's the way, right across the painting. Blend the sky in. More white. Bring the sky down and blend it up into the sky. I'd say we need it just a little bit darker at the top. But you must have it very pale over here. Along this horizon line we need it very pale. Now for the clouds, I've loaded my brush with grey on one side and white on the other. Now there might be a little bit too much grey. No, that's okay. Now the clouds come up the coast from here up towards us. So let's start the clouds here, rather small. Round and round brush stroke for the clouds. Round and round and round. And then the clouds get rather large where they get towards us here. So we'll get our grey on first and pick up a little bit of white. And that'll give us the clouds. Round and round and round with the clouds. There we go. And then cross the bottom out. I'll give you what looks like clouds running up the coast. In that spot there, I'll darken that in so it doesn't look so obvious there. And before the clouds dry, give them a soft brush over with a little bit of movement. Now the horizon line, in a very straight line. Move my whole body. That's the horizon line. That's Prussian blue, it's a very dark colour. So let's get a straight line there. And then you can clean your brush here and a bit of white over that, and you'll see that it's a Prussian blue. It's a very dark blue. And that gives us the blue of our distant ocean. And keep your brush strokes perfectly horizontal. Now for our distant, very distant hills, this is cerulean blue. I'll put it on like that, clean my brush, and then I'll tone it down with white. We'll have a few shapes here like this, and a shape, a round one. And bring them straight along the bottom. They must be flat at the bottom. And as they come towards us, they get a little bit darker. And ranges between Queensland and New South Wales. That's just a little, very little bit of crimson there. And blend that into the bottom of the mountains where it's closer to you. And a little bit of white. So you can build your mountains like this. And they continue over here. Now the mountains are coming closer to us. There's a lot more crimson in that. There's Mount Covey. And back here there's Mount Warning in the distance. That one's further away, so it has more blue in it. There we are. And put the white in the bottom of the mountain and build it up. So you see that mountain's bluer than this one. This one has tints of crimson. The beach will go up to there and here, Along about here, we start to see foliage along the edge of the water. And dab it along like that. That brush is over dark and light. And then you follow straight along. Keep it straight. Like that. That's the edge of the water. And then with your painting knife loaded with the white and burnt sienna, the beach, far as we can see. And again. Indian yellow and white. I'll make that one a bit brighter. So that's our distant beach, as far as we can see. Then we run Prussian blue right up underneath it. That's our undercoat for our ocean. And fill in all your Prussian blue to the ocean. Now I put a little bit of water in with my paint. If you're working in acrylics, use water. And of course, if you're working in oils, use a little bit of medium to thin your paint. Don't curve it down. Bring it in, out. Very horizontal. I'm using Prussian blue and phthalo blue mixed together here. Down here I'm moving into the phthalo blue. And don't worry about our shape, it doesn't matter, we can fix all that up later. We just need to get this blue in so we can start laying the ocean on top of it. So knock some of that blue back because it's very dark. Now this must be horizontal brush strokes. Move your whole body backwards and forwards. Then rub them in to get that lovely tone, this blue ocean tone. Keep working it backwards and forwards. Put a little bit of white on the very tip of the brush. That's a flat brush. I'll run it along the edge here, and that'll give us what looks like beaches all along there. As long as they're horizontal, it doesn't matter what colour comes off, as long as it's horizontal. We're looking for a tone now. We need the tone of the ocean. Now I'll unload white here, horizontal again, and that'll give us the tone of the ocean. Now the ocean comes in sweeps like this, but we still must keep our horizontal brush strokes to make it look flat. Very horizontal, very horizontal. So we need a lot of blue here, so let's put it on with a knife. A quick way of putting it on. Cross like that. Because that's Prussian blue and phthalo blue. I'm going to put the Prussian blue mainly down here in the corner. That's it. Down here you can go a little bit choppy, but up here it must be very smooth. Up here. Smooth. Now that'll give us an undercoat for our water. There's plenty of colour on there, and with a bit of white. We'll just get a little bit of colour happening in the water here. So lay a little bit of white on. Lay it on softly into the wet paint. If you're working in oils, you've got a lot longer to work on it. Well, that's our undercoat for the ocean. We don't need that white bit up there, so we'll knock that bit back there. Now let's start working in the beach area. I'll put some burnt sienna there, ready to work with, and some white. And then pick it up together, just get the tone you need, and scrub in what will be our beach coming towards us. Let it mix in with the blue a little bit. Comes around. Zigzag, zigzag, like that. Lay your white down, and a sandy colour over the top. And then the beach, very, very bright here in the distance. You need to adjust your tones like this. Which comes there. And then we have some of these reflections in the sand. And bring some different colours in and out. This is wet sand here. The reflections come straight towards you. Then with your burnt sand and white again, cut in the dry sand. In front of the wet sand. Then with a brush with blue and white, tin and waves like this, bigger, bigger and bigger, and then blend them out. Horizontal, they must be horizontal. Then you brush to them on its side this time, and you'll get another lot of waves. Right up here, and they get bigger than a sail. Now, they have to be cut off at the bottom. With your painting knife, which is pure white, put a few little rips of pure white, very brilliant white ripples here, like this. And a few brilliant white tips here. But keep it horizontal. In this area here, I'll place in a little bit of the blue, then scrub some white in. And that'll give us the reflection of the sky. Get a little bit more blue sky in there. And give me the wet on the sand into here. And I'll clean the brush there. Put a little tint of sand in it. A little tint of the sand colour coming in the edge, and brush it straight down. The streaks are good, so we can tidy our sand up. In, out, in. There. And plenty of white. Brush it into the sand. Then with that painting knife again, put some horizontal lines to give you the sun reflecting off the flat water. Then with the tip of the knife, you can scallop in little bits here and little bits here, which is the frothy water running up on the edge. Then with a clean brush again, waves happening along this area here. And that brush had a bit of water on, which was good. But keep them horizontal, make sure they're horizontal. And coming over again with the darker blue. Horizontal, very horizontal. And then we have the paint on the tip of the brush there. Make it horizontal. And a bit more dark on either side of the brush. And let's give it a white glow while this paint's dry now. Just put the brush with a little bit of white on. And out here you can have one more little wave. Now in between the waves, you do have a little bit of white froth here and there. And very flat here. Now for the headland area. Colour in this area here. This is all bush, comes round, and the beach comes bigger as it comes towards us. Of course, this is all coloured in here. and the beach goes quite small up there. This area here is dark, and it sweeps around to a beach here, and then up to Byron Bay, like that. So cut it in over your work. So the beach there comes around here, the beach here, and here the lighthouse, and all this is coloured in, just like that. That's about it. Cerulean blue and raw sienna. I need that raw sienna to turn green. Now add a little bit of white. So they're the distant tones, and they turn a little bit greener as it comes closer to us. Cerulean blue in there. And as it comes closer again, we add a little bit of warm yellow. So we have distant, closer, closer. Then with my round brush, pull to a point, and pick up a little bit on the tip. And with our dab, 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 we can put our little trees in the distance. As far as you can see. And come forward slowly. The hinterland. And clean your brush here. And make sure your brush has this chisel point. Right along the edge of the beach. A little bit of shadow. Then they get more colourful. We can dump them out later. And there's quite rugged here, comes down here, down onto the point, and in here. So it comes in here with a valley. And there's the top where the mountain is. We're looking down on the mountain there. It comes out into the ocean a bit here and comes back like that. And in amongst that, dab, 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 all foliage. Now we're making this up as we go along. You don't have to follow the shape of Byron Bay exactly. We'll make it all up, and we'll fill most of it in with this, and then we'll pick out the good bits and keep them, and the bits that we don't like, we'll fill them in with something else. Oops. Now this tree line here needs to be a little bit smaller, because there, just a bit finer there. With burnt sienna and white, put the beach in, just that area there, and bring the brush strokes in from the edge. Then I'll reload the brush with the darker colours, and this area here needs to come in that shape like that. And just dab a bit more colour on there. It's a little bit of foliage, has a different brush, but that's okay. Then with white on the clean brush, we can bring in our beach here. I'll touch that up with a bit of Prussian blue. Right, that's better. Now the top of this mountain comes out a lot further. So let's make it down, up, down, down, up, and then out. Block it in exactly what shape you want. And the rock area, all burnt umber here. That's burnt umber. And the rock area goes back into here. And with a clean brush again, we can brush in another beach in this area, because the beach comes into the picture in that direction. And curves around. So that's our beach in that area. We're going to have a little bit of a wobble on it. Now to detail the rocks, I'll sculpture them in with a knife, zigzag like this, a zigzag. And on top of that, put a bit of burnt sienna and white. Not much, just a bit here and there on the rocks. A bit more burnt sienna. And that'll give us the colours for the rock. Don't worry about this bit down here, because that's under the ocean. Now mine's a bit dark. I'll change it by putting this over the top. And along here we'll sculpture in again like that. And a few rocks down here, a little bit of character. I do want that down into the water look, so let's give it a couple of straight pieces like that. A clean brush, plenty of Prussian blue and white, we can give this. It must be horizontal brush strokes. And along the edge of our water here. Let's have another wave coming in here. Nice waves happening in here like this. And of course a little bit of something happening out here. I'll pick up the light and dark, dark on this side and light on that side, and we'll deliberately get our cliff face looking good. Some of the foliage comes down over the edge of the cliff. And along here. Now I've got light and dark on the brush here, the two colours at once. We can lighten that bit up like a bit of grass. And then we can put in our lighthouse. Let's put it here. Doesn't matter where it is. And straight line underneath it. That's all we need. Not too much detail. And somewhere here, we have a window. Trying to get a very white glow on top of your white house. Right there. Then there's a little road comes down from the lighthouse. There's a little white house. Another little white house. There's a car park there. And the road goes up and disappears down here. And there's a little white fence around everything. So let's try and put our little white fence in like that. And across here too. Red roofs, that's all you need. So now we continue to dab, dab, dab. All that foliage coming down, hanging over the edge of the cliff. Getting closer to us, so it's a little bit more prominent, these dab, dab brush strokes now. And it hangs over into the ocean here. Now this cliff here does come out into the ocean further. So let's bring it out like that. So we have got that fall into the ocean there. A bit of white and Prussian blue there. And continue our dab, dab, dabbing. And with them you can put some shape into your hills, down here, down there, and across there, and down this way, cutting in over each other, because it is rather a rugged area here. That's a little bit green. It looks like parkland. All little trees. And because they're closer here, but they're bigger. different bush areas coming down to the edge of the water. Bit of shadow. The shadow here. Now I think a little bit of foliage along there to correct the perspective, keep that straight. Fill in a few spots, give it a little bit of character with a bit of foliage here and there. Bright spots here and there, that's it. And give it this valley look. And a few lights and darks on the little brush, comes down through here, disappears there, comes through here, up, travels up through here, and there's a road, disappears down towards Byron Bay. It doesn't have to be prominent. Now the little trick to show you here, on my knife I've loaded all little colours, bits and pieces of little colours, and we can sculpture in the town. Now that will become the town of Byron Bay. Well, we're nearly finished. I think we need a little bit of a highlight here and there. Put a little bit of highlight on some of these rocks. They're sloping down and across and down in the water. That's burnt sienna and white. And if you want to have a little bit more action along here, we can do that too. Where the waves are coming in, here, there. And I like to see a little bit of a yellowy tint here. It's a bit bright actually. And then I'll tone it down again with a darker colour. A little bit of parkland here. And around here we have a little bit of grass parkland. So you can detail your painting a little bit more like this if you wish. And a bit of grass up on the bank. And also all around here we have a bit of parkland with a little bit of grass. I haven't quite finished my trees here, so I'll dab them in, finish them off. Bit of shape coming down over there. And a little bit of detail missing down in this corner. I always like to keep my corners dark, so I'll darken that off. Now there's one thing I've missed, and that's Julian rocks. So I'll put them in with a knife, a little bit of sunlight on them, and that's a bit much. Take a bit off, and then we have the water splashing around them. Scratch it in there, and a bit splashing around here. Now that rock's a little bit dark. It should really be a slightly lighter tone. With some very horizontal white lines, we can keep it looking flat out there. And I think I'll put a few rocks out here. There is rocks out here. Heading out towards Julian rocks. We can put a little bit of shadow up one side of the lighthouse. Brighten our house up a little bit. And I have a blue line that shouldn't be there. Right along here, it's a good idea to have a dark line there. Gives you the shadow of the wave. Well, that's my interpretation of Byron Bay, looking down from the air. I live there, on that mountain, Mount Shinkogan. I hope to see you again on another painting DVD. Thank you. Bye.